Hello again, friends and loyal Wolfpack members. Chaos Wolf here, and welcome back to Elite Dangerous. Today we are going to be taking a look at the Corvette ship kit. This has just today been released into the game. Well, the day that I am recording this, you guys should hopefully be seeing this the day after. Now, this is a kit that I've been looking forward to for a long time, ever since we saw it way back in the teaser streams for 2.3. So, without further ado, let's go and find out what we've got here. Now, we're going to have pieces for everything. This is going to be a 16-piece kit, so 4 pieces tails, 4 spoilers, 4 wings, 4 bumpers. First of all, let's go in and have a look at the tails. Now, first one is going to be this one here, and this is basically just going to be adding some extra bulk onto the side of the ship here. So basically extending the wings out a little bit more. So let's go and put that on and get a bit of a closer look at it. Here we go. You can see that it just extends the wing out. And basically makes it so that it just continues straight back rather than arching in. Which I've got to say I kind of like. We can also see here that it is kind of attached on with some kind of baffles or something. I'm not quite sure what they are called, but it's attached on at these attachment points. It does go and extend down a little bit further, so it's just adding some extra bulky weight to the side of the Corvette. Now, as always, I'm talking about visual weight and not actual weight. This does not affect your ship in the slightest apart from just visually. It doesn't change the weight, it does not change the hitbox. Okay, so the next part is going to be this one. Now, I don't think we need to go and have a closer look at this one because you can pretty much see exactly what this is. This goes and extends out the back of the ship here. So basically just giving it a longer, sleeker look. Now, it is kind of interesting. I do like the look of it in a way, but it doesn't seem to kind of match up quite right here. So I'm not quite sure what I think about it. I like it in a way, but I also don't like it in a way. So, it's down to you what you think of this one. Now, moving on to the next one, part 3 is going to be this one. And this adds some extra visual weight down at the bottom. So, I like this one because it actually balances out the visual weight top and bottom of the back of the Corvette. So, I really kind of like this one. Now, I'm not sure if we're going to need a closer look, so it doesn't really add anything more than just the pieces that we can see here. So it is kind of... out of all of them so far, this is my favourite. Now, moving on to the next one, that is going to be this one. Wow, this adds quite a bit. As you can see, it adds some extra bits down the bottom, some kind of... I don't know what they're called, but basically engine guards either side, so emission guards or something. I don't know what they're called. But let's actually select it and go and have a closer look. Now, as we go down to have a look at the bottom, we can see that it does add quite a bit to it. In fact, it adds an extra little fin coming out of the side as well down at the bottom, which I think is kind of neat as well. But I'm not quite sure what I think about these parts here. Now, normally I'd like this kind of thing, but this just feels a little bit overly bulky. So I'm not quite sure what I think of this one just yet. So far, out of all of these, I actually do like number 3, so tail 3. I think this one's the best, just because it goes and balances out the top and bottom of the ship so nicely. And it doesn't add the extra little bits on the side here, which I'm really not a massive fan of. So we are actually going to go for part 3. Now we're going to go and move on to the spoilers. Now the first one of these is going to be just that. It's not too drastic, it's just basically a little raised section, a little fin coming off of it. So that's kind of interesting. I'm not sure exactly where that's attached up, so I'm actually going to go and have a bit of a closer look. Right, okay, so it's connected up a lot further back than I was expecting. It's right there. What I was thinking is it was actually going to be attached around about this area. But no, seems I was completely wrong. And it does extend a bit further back than what I was expecting. Again, it kind of adds a little bit more symmetry to the ship as well. Now, looking at it from about this kind of angle, it makes me think a little bit of an X-Wing. So that is kind of interesting. Not sure what I think about it overall, but I do think it looks better than what I was expecting it to look like. Moving on to the second of the spoilers, it's actually going to be this one. Now this looks kind of interesting. I do think this one actually goes and fits the look of this ship quite nicely. It's got the nice straight edges, nice angular sides. So let's go and pull that on and go and have a bit of a closer look. And here we go. We can see it attached here just behind the bridge. And I kind of like this one. I don't know what it is about it, but I do like the way that it goes and just adds an extra element to the mid area of the ship. Now, I'm not sure this is going to be the one that we're going to choose in the end. We'll have to go and see. Now, number 3 of the spoilers is going to be this one. And naturally, this is the more race car-like of all the spoilers so far. As you can see, it's mounted on the top of the cockpit, or the top rear of the bridge section, of the command bridge. And it's basically just a spoiler connected on with 2 little columns here and here, and what looks like an air intake in the centre. So this is the most muscle car spoiler of all of them so far. Now, I think we get a fairly good view of this. I don't think we need to go and have a closer look. So let's move on to the last of these, and this one is kind of interesting as well. This is more of the traditional kind of boat spoiler that we see on a lot of them. The Anaconda's got something very similar. So let's go and put this one on and just see just exactly how it attaches on to the ship. And as we can see, it's actually mounted a good ways back from the weapon hard points. In a way, I think this is actually quite nice. Okay, decisions. Which of these to go for? I mean, they're all kind of good in their own little ways. I mean, this looks great from this angle, but it doesn't look as good from the side or the back. This just looks absolutely terrible. I don't like this at all. It looks like the ship's just trying to be an American muscle car, and I don't like it overly. I think the 2 that I kind of like are these 2. They're both attached in the same area, just completely differently. You know what, I'm actually going to go for this one just because it made me think a little bit more of an X-Wing. So that is kind of cool. I'm actually going to go for that one for the moment. Now, moving on to the next part, and that's going to be the wings. Now, the first one here is actually going to be this one. So this is the counterpart piece to the original first tail section that added the extra bolted on sections. You can tell as well this because it's got the same kind of attachment points here and there and here. So yeah, now this actually does go and sit up flush with the side of the ship and right next to the side of the heat vents here. So that's interesting. It's not going to extend very far down because, as we saw with the previous one, it's mainly just this top section here. I like how it kind of adds on to this section here. That looks like it just adds... It's just connected so well to it. Moving on to piece 2, let's go and see what this one is. Now, this one's actually moved a good amount further forward. It's got the same connectors as well, or at least... So let's go and connect this one and go and take a little bit of a closer look. Alright, so as we can see, this one actually does go and extend much further forward than the previous one. Now again, this does go and mess with the lines of the ship. And look at that, again, it's got what looks like an air intake. I'm curious, does it have one on the other side? I don't know. Let's see. Yes, it does. So this is weird. Not sure what I think of this one. Now, one thing that I have noticed about this is that it sits right next to one of the medium weapon ports. Now this might be an issue, especially if you're trying to fire your weapon up. This is actually going to go and clip through the piece for the ship kit. So that's not ideal, but it really depends whether or not you're actually bothered about that kind of level of detail. Moving on to wing number 3, that is going to be this one. Now, as we can see, this adds 2 pieces that are set further back. Looks like they are identical top and bottom. And this is actually set back from the medium weapon port, which is going to be around about here. So you're not going to be having any clipping issues with that. Now, this is kind of interesting as well. It adds a bit of, to me, this looks like a bit more of an aggressive style of angle and so on to the ship. Let's move on to the 4th and final of the wing pieces, and that's going to be this one. Now this one looks kind of interesting. It's nice and chunky on the side. It's got a big, what looks like an air intake there. Not sure we're going to get the full effect of this unless we go and have a closer look. Now this one is much further back. It does not go and conflict with the weapon port at all. And as we can see, it does indeed have a air intake, but it also looks like it's got a hollow section running all the way through. It's got some additional fins at the back here, potentially to maybe help with aerodynamics, I don't know. But no, it doesn't look like it's got a hollow section going through because it does just have the air vents at the back as well. So out of all of these for the moment, I mean, I'm tempted to go for this one, but I'm not really sure. I think overall we're going to go for this one for now, maybe. Right now, for me, it's a choice between number 1, 4 and 3. Number 2, I really don't like it because it'll go and interfere with some of the weapon hardpoints. So I think overall, I do like the first one. Now, moving on, we're going to go and have a look at the last section, which is the bumpers. So let's go and have a look. And it looks like we've got some interesting pieces in here. First one, let's go and have a look at this. This is just a little nose piece for the end of the Corvette. It just goes and changes the way the nose looks. Now, I'm not sure what I think about this one because it doesn't really go and seamlessly attach. But then again, not a lot on this ship does do that because you can see it has got a lot of overlapping parts to it. So that kind of fits, I suppose. Not convinced. The second one, similar design, but this is a lot larger. Now, it's got a cutout section on the sides for the headlights. And this just makes the ship a little bit more kind of, dare I say, aerodynamic looking. I'm not quite sure, because it's not like aerodynamics really have a part to play here, so to speak. But it makes it look kind of like it should be more aerodynamic. Not the biggest fan of this one, especially since the parts go and flow over the top here. It might look better in a different colour scheme, I'm not quite sure. Usually I find these work best with chrome, but this may be an exception. Now, part 3 is going to be this one. Now, this looks really kind of like a brutal battering ram, like you're turning your ship into a ramming machine. That's what this looks like to me. It's a reinforced ram at the front of your ship. Now, I think a lot of people might like to go for this one simply for that fact. And the last one is going to be this one. Now, I really, really like the look of this one, despite an issue that I have with it. So let's go and basically put it on and have a closer look. So this is the one that I really, really like. And it's also the one that we saw in the teaser live stream for 2.3. Now, I really, really like the way this actually makes the front of the ship look a little bit more visually heavy. But again, there is a minor issue I've got with it, which is going to be that it extends the side of the ship out, which again is going to be messing with these weapon ports. So what do I mean? Well, what I mean is the fact that the ship was basically a straight line from the weapon ports to allow for the gimbal of the weapon. So if we actually go and have a look on top, if the weapon is to fire straight forward, it's not going to be an issue. But if it's trying to fire off at that kind of angle at something over to the right hand side of the ship, it'll technically be firing through the new nose piece, which is going to be an issue for some people if you've got that kind of OCD. I mean, it bothers me a little bit, but the fact that it just looks so amazing to me, I'm actually more than willing to go and overlook that. The only issue I have now is that because I've decided that I want to go with this nose piece, some of the other pieces that I've chosen don't really seem to fit for me. So what I'm going to go and do is I'm going to go and have a quick little rethink about what I want this thing to look like. And then what we're going to do is have a look and see what it looks like with the kit with some different paint jobs on there. Because I know not everyone's going to have the chrome paint job like I do. Okay, so I've gone and changed the pieces to make it look a bit more in line. And I'm fine with that. So let's go and see what this is going to look like with some different paint jobs. Now, as we can see, I've got the Black Friday, the chrome, the new bright neon kind of packs, and the vibrant paint pack. So let's go and see what this will look like with some of these other paint jobs. Now obviously with the black it's going to look again just monotone. In fact, this actually looks really nice in black. Huh. It actually looks very badass, like a giant Batmobile. Next we're going to go and have a look at these ones. So, it does actually go and change the colours to fit in with like kind of the mid-dark tones on this thing. Now what I want to do is I'm going to go and check whether or not it goes and changes some of the other pieces. No, they're all the same colour. So, it's really kind of a bit iffy. It would be nice if these pieces were following with the colour scheme. But, it's not terrible. So yeah, I'd be more than willing to give that a pass. Now that's obviously going to be the same with all of these kind of things. Now some of these are going to be less noticeable than others. I imagine the lime's going to be less noticeable. The Predator Green is going to be less noticeable maybe. The kind of the neon pink almost is purpley pink is kind of interesting. The Predator Red is very yellow. And then we've got the teal. It's less noticeable here to me, but I'm not still... It's still a bit of a discrepancy between the two. I mean, the pattern doesn't follow. But moving over to the vibrant paint packs, as you can see, it's just going to match the colours of whichever one you're going to have on there. So let's put the red on there and have a bit of a closer look up front. Now this surprised me. I was fully expecting the frontal parts to be completely just red. But there is some design to them, which surprised me no end. Huh. Okay. So it's kind of interesting. And as we can see as well on the spoiler, there is actually some different colorations on it. So it's not just one colour. So that's actually kind of interesting. And here we go. This is the finished product of how I've gone and set up my own personal Corvette. Now, the vast majority of the pieces I've chosen are for the 4th set. The only exception to that is actually the spoiler, and that is part 2. Now, I do really like this ship, how it looks now with this kit, with the Black Friday paint job. I've just realised that I now need to go and change the colour of my ship name and ship designation, but it does look very, very nice in black. Because normally, up until now, I'd gone for nothing but chrome on this ship, but for some reason with this kit, for me, it just pops so much more in black. Strange as that may sound, But anyway guys, that's going to be it for this video. I do hope you've enjoyed it, and I do hope that it's gone and made your decision easier as to whether or not you want to go and pick this kit up for yourself. Now, like the video if you've liked it, dislike it if you didn't. Neither of those good enough for you. That's what the comments are for. You can also go and follow me on Twitter. The link is in the video description. You can also go and join our wing on Inara or on Facebook. Again, links are in the video description. But I've been Commander Chaos Wolf from Sci-Fi Gaming. You guys, as always, have been epic. I will see you soon. And until next time, my fellow commanders, keep flying and stay shiny.